All right, so now we're going to look at the metric unit and doing some dimensional analysis. Here I've kind of changed the table that I had set up from before. Now I'm looking at the actual number of whole numbers of units. So I've got 1 meter is equal to 10 decimeters. Right, deci and deca both start with D, and they both represent 10 in some way. One is, decimeter, or 1/10 of a meter. Decameter is 10 meters. And so deca, they use DA for the abbreviation, and decimeter, they use just the D. Okay, so the unit that's smaller than a meter just gets the D. The one that's bigger than a meter gets the DA. Okay. Anyway, so 1 meter is 10 decimeters, 1 meter is 100 centimeters, 1 meter is 1,000 millimeters, and then 10 meters is 1 decameter, 100 meters is 1 hectometer, and 1,000 meters is one, oh, I didn't put my M on there, label my units, is 1 kilometer or kilometer, okay? And so you have all these conversions, and now the dimensional analysis is interesting with metric because your fractions are always going to be either 1 over a power of 10 or a power of 10 over 1. And so I'll show you, there's some cool shortcuts that result, or that take place as a result of that. So if I wanted to, let's say, convert, I don't know, 7.3, let's go decameters to centimeters, for instance, then we're going to make these conversions. We want to go, basically you always have a middleman, and the meter is always your middleman. Okay, M for middle, no, M for meter, I don't know, middleman, meter, middleman, they all start with M, I don't know, something in there. Now you want your, let's see, you want to take your 7.3 decameters over 1, multiply by your conversion from decameter to meter. And again, the decameter needs to be on the bottom so that the units cancel. So I want 10 meters over 1 decameter. Okay. But then so that cancels out the decameter. Now I want to get the meters out there. Okay. And so get the meters out and convert to centimeters. So I'll go to meter to centimeter. I want the meters on the bottom. So I want 1 meter on the bottom with 100 centimeters on top. Now notice I'm taking the 7.3 and I'm multiplying by different powers of 10. I'm just moving the decimal, okay? And so 7.3 times 10 is 73. And 73 times 100 is 7,300. And so really what I'm doing is I'm taking that 7.3, is I'm moving the decimal once for that conversion, and then 2 more times for that conversion, and I get 7,300. Okay, so it's going to be 7,300 centimeters. My meters cancel off. All right. Okay, so it's a moving of the decimal essentially, and so every time I go from a bigger unit like this to a smaller one, you move the decimal to the right, equal to the number of levels you're going in the chart here, right? So you're going deca, to meter. And I skip meter, right? 1 meter is equal to 1 meter. There's an unneeded measurement there. So you go deca to meter to millimeter to centimeter. That's 1, 2, 3 places in the table. Okay. Again, I skipped over the 1 meter to 1 meter conversion because that's kind of silly, but in the table that's kind of needed. Anyway, and so if you list these out in order, these different measurements, if you list it out, start with kilometer, km, then hm, then dam, then just m. That's the one I skipped. Then you got your decimeter, centimeter, and millimeter. And of course I didn't put these in order either. I kind of flipped those backwards. Anyway, these are in order, right? You got 100, 10, or I'm sorry, 1,000, 100, 10, 1, 1/10, 100th, 1,000th. Okay, and they're in order of size. And so if you want to go with, if you want to take, what did I say originally? 7.3 of these and convert it over to centimeters, you have to move the decimal 1, 2, 3 places to the right, and that gives you 7,300 centimeters. Okay, so the conversion, instead of using the fractions, which you can still do, there's nothing wrong with that. I like it, actually. I don't get confused that way. To me, the fractions make more sense, but a lot of people like just moving the decimal back and forth, and it's a cool shortcut, actually, which I do like. You just got to be careful not to skip anything, like that meter in the middle sometimes will play tricks with me, but just be careful of that, not to skip anything. For instance, if I wanted to convert, I'll do this in another color so it doesn't get too confusing there, but if I wanted to convert, let's say, I don't know, 3.6 centimeters to hectometers. Weird conversion. I don't know why you would ever do that, but just to practice with the math, right? If you wanted 3.6 centimeters and you want to convert it to hectometers, you go from centi, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you got to move that decimal 4 places to the left. Okay, so it would be 0.00036, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, hectometers. All right, and so that's what you would get if you did this dimensional analysis with the fractions, because you're really having to divide instead of multiply by those powers of 10, and that will move the decimal left to make it smaller. Okay. All right, so the conversions with metric are real nice, because all you got to do is slide the decimal back and forth, and there's not a lot of calculator needed, really. You're just counting decimal places. You're not really having to do, am I going to divide by 5820 or multiply by 12? You don't have to worry about that with the metric unit like you do with the English unit, because all you have to do is slide the decimal. You're either multiplying by a power of 10 or dividing by a power of 10. Okay. Yeah, so we could do another example. I could do a conversion. Let's do one more up here. Maybe I'll get rid of all that. And let's do a conversion of, I don't know, 8,462 millimeters to kilometers. Okay, something like that. So again, I start out with the 8,462. My decimal starts out on the far right, right there after the whole number. But from millimeters, you got to go all the way to kilometers. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places to the left. So from here I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need a couple extra zeros. So it's 0.008462 kilometers. Okay. Kind of neat. You can do those conversions, again, just sliding the decimal back and forth. And again, if you really needed to, if you weren't real confident with that, you could take the 8462 millimeters over 1. You convert millimeters to meters. And so you have 1 meter in 1,000 millimeters. And then you multiply that to get rid of your meters and turn it into kilometers. Where's that at? Right here. You have 1 kilometer in 1,000 meters. Cancel your meters out. And then you're just taking 8462 and dividing by 1,000 twice. Well, that, you could move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal the number of zeros on the bottom. Or you could throw it in your calculator if you really want to and do 8462 divide by 1,000. And you get 8 point, if you can see that, maybe. Divide by 1,000, 8.462, and then hit divide by 1,000 again. Oop. And you get 0.008462, which is what we had. Okay, so it's just kind of a neat slick shortcut to doing those conversions. And to be honest, once you get the hang of it, I think the decimal moving of the decimals is way easier than trying to sit here and divide or multiply by powers of 10. But whatever you want to do, I'm not going to require one method over the other. They're equivalent, but definitely this decimal sliding thing, it's just a neat shortcut. So okay, so in the next video we're going to look at converting between the English and the metric units, and then maybe we'll do a little bit with speed, rates of speed as well. We'll throw some of those in there, like miles per hour types of things. So stay tuned.